Arcane Season 2, I think in general, isn't that great, but it's pretty good. Everyone right now is kind of talking about how amazing Arcane Season 2 is. If you haven't heard about Arcane in general, most people say it's pretty good. It is a pretty good show. I think it's an amazing show. Better than most things I've seen recently. Probably one of the best shows recently. It's new and different, and it doesn't really deserve criticism, but I feel like some people have been kind of glazing it up a little too much. So, this video isn't really about saying that it's bad, because it's not bad. It's about combat, and I'm going to be talking about the fighting of, I believe, the last episode of Season 2, the final climactic battle. And I feel like it could have been better in a number of ways. Again, I'm probably going to say this a lot more times. It's not like Arcane Season 2 is bad, actually. It's a really good show. It's pretty good. But this is kind of going to be a video for people trying to make a story, teaching you what you could do better, or what you should be thinking about if you're making like some big, epic, climactic final fight finish for your story. Because I'm doing that right now, technically. I'm making my own story. That's kind of what this art that you're seeing here is about. It's technically concept art, I would say, for a comic I'm going to be making, which is one of many stories I plan on making. I would call this concept art because, well, this thing you're seeing here, this character in the middle, I have never drawn them before, and this is literally me figuring out what they would look like, which is why it takes up most of this entire thing. But this whole picture was about me learning like a style to try, visuals, shading techniques, effect techniques, how to make a kind of inking effect style. It was everything in this picture was kind of me learning what I might have my comic look like, and what this character might look like, and even what this scene might look like. Not really. There was a weird reference I used for this, some weird Leonardo da Vinci reference, because my dad was like, try it out, so I did. But yeah, this whole picture is like some concept art. But I'm going to be talking about the final fight of Season 2 way, and how it could have been improved, and if you were making a story with an epic fight at the end, or just any fights throughout, I guess, what you should pay attention to and try to keep in mind. Again, not like Season 2 of Arcane's bad, but I felt like there are some things wrong with it. Arcane's got enough praises, not like it really deserves any hate. Not everything's perfect, so I wanted to talk about it. I'm going to be putting on some clips that I took of the show, so if you haven't really watched it, you should still kind of get the context, hopefully. I guess the main idea of this fight is kind of like I said, it's the last fight of the season. So it's supposed to be the most epic, most climactic and fancy. Umbessa. I feel like I'm not saying her name right. I don't really feel like looking it up right now, but I'm going to call her Umbessa. I think that's correct, but who knows. But that's what I'm going to call her for the rest of this video. Her and this boy Victor are trying to get to Magic Place with a lot of stuff to make him a super god, while everyone else is trying to stop them so that the world doesn't end. I guess that's kind of the main idea of this. Going from the beginning, the intro into this battle I feel like is really cool. It kind of starts with them being in like their own room of their castle, whatever this thing is, they're built over a tower, and talking about kind of how awful this battle is going to be. And during that, every once in a while, they kind of start showing the faces of the people when they kind of start realizing how serious of a situation it is. And then it'll kind of like jump to the battle beginning in a very hectic moment. And I feel like that was really cool. That was a really creative way to jump into a very hectic battle. It was really well done there. I think that was a cool beginning. But after that, most things aren't as cool. So this guy, I liked him. I was one of the people that liked him. If you've seen Season 2 of Arcane, then you know the people that like this dude. I like this dude. I think his name is Lorish. I don't remember how to say it. They only said it, like, I think literally once. And there's a lot with this dude and how people were like, it's so beautiful because he was so useless. But this is kind of about combat, so maybe I won't talk about this guy too much. But first off, for combat wise, this guy is like a big old strong military man. Maybe Piltover hasn't been in war before. Maybe somehow, I guess they haven't been in a lot of battles. I could kind of believe they haven't been in a fight recently. But this guy's like, he sits there for like 5 seconds. That could be a reaction. I don't know. It's like he's hiding like a little baby for like ever. I just thought that was a little weird. Not that bad, but whatever. This is when Umbessa walks up. She's supposed to be the most scariest war general in the world with insane military tactics, and she's super evil and super good at fighting. And this is one of those things in story writing where you can write a character like this. They're like, oh, this character is really good at military tactics. If you write a character that is supposed to be good at something, that means you have to be good at that thing too. If you have a character that's supposed to be really smart in military tactics, then you have to be smart in military tactics. You have to literally write that in. You can't just say a character is smart and then have them walk up unarmored, just kind of with melee weapons, walking towards people with guns, and I don't know, just win. It was so, this is such a weird thing. This is when it starts all going weird. Everyone else here, the military or the army, or I don't even know what these are, police, technically it's like all of them that Piltover have are terrible. She's walking up literally with like the smallest armor in the world. They all got like sniper rifles and they're 2 feet away. I'm sure none of them can just blast her. I mean, if you know the scene, she has like a special shield, but it obviously doesn't seem to do anything against normal stuff. Only against magic does it seem to have an effect on. So I'm pretty sure literally anyone could have just shot her and this would have been the end. But no, some dude walks up with a spear thinking that he's gonna be the guy. Again, doesn't really make sense. Caitlyn here, she's got this magic super sniper rifle. It's probably gonna get really deep into this later, but it's starting right now. He takes a shot at her with her magic sniper rifle. For some reason, the first bullet, it gets affected by her shield, but still pierces through and hits her. The 5 other shots don't, which is strange, because it's not like a reaction. Obviously, Umbessa did not even realize it. She didn't even really realize the other ones. She still got hit by them and she felt like the force of being pushed by them. She did not react in time for the bullets. She did not. So she didn't have to react with her magical shield, but yet somehow the first one like pierced through, but none of the others. I don't know, I guess this magical amulet has a reaction time, maybe, somehow, but whatever. That's just weird, stupid, but sure. I guess the first bullet kind of did something, but all the other ones didn't. And I'll talk more about this later. I don't know what's up with that. Let's talk about the like rudimentary defenses. So like Piltover, that's what these, I guess, the good people in this scene are. We'll just call them the Piltovers. Obviously not all of them are from Piltover if you watch the show, but they're fighting in Piltover. So this is like Piltover defenses. They have to hold a door against these stupid bad guys out here. That's what they don't have any way of just kind of closing it. They got magical hammers and magical magic and super everything, but doors that kind of can just be locked or blocked off permanently, that's not a thing. I don't know. All these enemies even come on a bridge. They couldn't have like blown it up, destroyed it, closed off a bridge. It was very strange. Sure. You have to hold the doors closed in this world, I guess. There was no other way for them to figure it out. Even though they have all this advanced technology, hold and close the door was the best they could figure out. Even apart from that, their cannons, I guess, I feel like maybe that's what you're supposed to get here, is that Piltover has just never been in a war. And so their only defense is just shipping devices. Maybe they use this cannon to ship canisters onto faraway lands. Sure, I feel like that's a little dangerous because it has to be aimed. That seems manually, but whatever, sure. Yeah, sure, that's fine. I don't know why this place wouldn't have any sort of actual military defense at all, though. because Mel's here, and Mel is the daughter of Umbessa. I still don't know if that's her name, but whatever, that's what I'm calling her. She kind of knows her mom is evil and militaristic and would come in here with an army. So I don't know why Mel wouldn't ever be like, hey, maybe we should have some defenses for ourselves. I feel like realistically, this is a thing too with writing a story at all. People that are related to like a real military leader, they kind of should understand something about it, and you should too. I think in this situation, if I was Mel, this is something you probably have to do with your characters in your story. If you have to put yourself in their shoes. If I was Mel in this situation, I would tell Piltover to make some defenses. Anything. Literally any sort of defense would have been smart here. Piltover literally has nothing. And they just absolutely fail this fight when they're so advanced. They're such an advanced, like everything about them is super advanced, and yet they had no defenses, no way to close a door, no cannons. It's pretty strange. I think it's strange. I think Mel would have definitely had put in place something to protect themselves, because she literally knew that her mom definitely want to take over this place. But sure, maybe somehow Ice has no defense. Mel in general, she kind of pulls a Luke Skywalker here, where she like comes in clutch later and saves the day, kind of, because it's like, oh, she's here, we've got backup now, and she like saves Caitlyn and saves people, and it's like, okay, we were about to lose really bad, but we were good. The thing about the Luke Skywalker clutch is that if you had shown up earlier, you also could have done a lot more. Mel's powers are kind of just like magic, just straight up magic. Make shield, attack things magically. She could have blocked cannon shots. She could have even destroyed cannons, destroyed ships, stopped walking ball holders. I don't know what's up with this. This is our plan to get Victor to our destination safely and quickly. I feel like at that point that was pretty obvious bait, but whatever. But she instead comes in only at the very end to like literally turn around the whole battle because everyone was losing. And she really just could have come in at any time and really saved a lot of people, pushed the door closed, pushed people off of bridges, saved Lorish, whatever you say his name. But you know, she goes for the Luke Skywalker clutch that ends up getting pretty much everyone in the rebellion killed, but whatever, that's fine. If you know, you know. Jay's here. Okay. This doesn't even, I don't know. I just feel like this didn't make sense, and that's why I had to bring it up. What he's pretty much doing here is he's like, Victor, I've disabled, I don't know, if this is another situation, it's like, I've disabled your car. I have opened up all the doors, the windows, the hood, the trunk, and the gas canister. They're all open, so now you cannot use it. And then Victor just comes in and goes, okay, and closes them all instantly. Like, I don't know, Jace, you could have, I feel like there could have been something more than just kind of pulling them all out halfway. It's like leaving a light switch stuck in the middle, and it's like, oh, it's broken now. It's like, this is, I don't know, that was dumb. Whatever. Not technically a part of the battle, but it was kind of, so I just wanted to say how stupid this was. That was pretty dumb, but whatever. Maddie here. I think that's what her name is, Maddie. Maddie here. I don't get it. I don't understand what anything was about. I guess it was a cool twist at the time, kind of being like, oh my god, Umbessa, she told her, she said don't have relationships with people or whatever, something like that. I don't know the line. But it's like, Maddie could have just killed her the second that she was alone with her in a tower. Like, she could have, there would have been nothing stopping her. It would have pretty much guaranteed that they won this battle, because then Maddie would have her ultimate sniper, and she would just start shooting everyone on her side, and like, who would stop her? There was no one to stop her there. But sure, it was a betrayal in front of everyone, so it was more climactic. Oh, that's a lot of the things here. Is everything's kind of cool in theory. So when you like, when you watch this thing the first time, even for me, I didn't catch all this the first time, but I felt some of this stuff, especially something a bit later on. You know, it's like cool in theory, but you really have to put yourself in the shoes of the people fighting. Maddie could have just killed Caitlyn at any point. There would have been nothing stopping her really. And for Umbessa and her amazing military tactics, it would have been the best thing to do instead of, I don't know, showing mercy. It's kind of what it felt like she was doing this whole time, just not absolutely demolishing these people with no defenses. You know, even her military army barely had any armor anyways and fought with spears and knives and swords and shields, which is like, I don't know. If Piltover had any sort of sense, they would have built some sort of defense and maybe like a fully automatic gun instead of these like huntsman rifles they all bring out. But sure, whatever. Sorry if you can hear 1,000 dogs. They like to just kind of sing and yell. Vi. I wish she would use her shield. She uses it in season 1. It literally saved her life in a fight against Savika at like the end of the season. So I feel like she should remember that she has a shield. It was pretty important then. I feel like I wouldn't forget if it saved my life that my gauntlets can make a shield that pushes everyone away, especially if I'm trying to block something. But you know, whatever. Forgets her shield. Gas bombs. Why? I don't know. Any other offense would have been better here. Still, no armor, gas bombs, whatever. Caitlyn goes in quick scoping because it's cool. But in reality, why? Still, why is she quick scoping? But you know, it's cool, so whatever. This bomb, it's the same amount of brain power of gas bombs. It's like, but why do they have a small explosive when they could have just had a ranged huge explosive, maybe from like a cannon? Why not have a big old cannon launching super high speed device to shoot a bomb instead of having people having to run up with a very small one that could be tampered with, I guess. I just think here too, it's like if Piltover people thought they would have just made an explosive that can be shot. But sure, for some reason they thought the best way to do it was to carry a bomb like a football touchdown style to the target. I don't know how Mbissa knows how to dismantle this. Again, not really combat wise, but just like, how does she know to take apart her sniper rifle? I might talk about more some of this stuff if you guys like this, or if anyone likes this, with kind of gun design and gun ideas. I know some stuff about guns. If you guys like this combat video, I'm probably going to make a bit more if people do. There's a lot of combat in Arcane, so there'd be a lot of things to talk about, things that I feel like are better. I feel like season 1 has better combat, so yeah, you know. I haven't really seen anyone else talk about this. This is Jinx's home. No one, I don't know. I feel like it's not really important, not really combat, but it's an interesting thing. Everyone always brings up little TikToks and be like, did you see? The Jinx has an hourglass on her costume and Echo has this. But I've never seen anyone talk about that this is literally her house. And I feel like that was kind of cool. And you can see it multiple times. She like lives on this weird propeller thing, and then that's what they kind of fly out. So this is her house. She destroyed it, you know, it's cool, whatever. Savika, she comes in. Her arm, I kind of realize this like now. I don't know what's up with it. Again, before this, she lost her arm for like the 5th time. But I guess she must have fixed it. But it doesn't really look like a combination of like her Jinx arm and her previous one. Her previous arm was golden, and maybe this is like a lighting thing or something, or I'm stupid, which is very reasonable and possible. I don't know, this looks like kind of a new arm or new parts. I don't know. I just feel like if Savika kind of had the same arm, which it seems like she does because it still bites stings, she could have just kind of flamethrowered everyone here. And again, none of these people are really wearing much armor. They're wearing a lot of cloth. So, you know, Sika could have, I feel like she could have just flamethrowered everyone and they would have kind of just instantly won and bum rushed Mbessa. But whatever, who knows. Vi teleports into place here. There's not really a lead up to how she got here. She was defending the door, backed into a corner, and then she kind of just is right in front of the gun. So that's cool. I feel like, you know, writing wise, be careful of when characters teleport. maybe you can get away with it if it's purely just like text you're using, so you can't really see the visuals and you kind of just have to imagine it. But visually here, I don't know how she really gets here instantly, perfectly to save the cannon, but whatever, she just kind of teleports. Fire lights, I think they're called. They're cool. I wish they stuck around. They don't appear any time after this at all. Don't know what happens to them. I feel like they could have been useful in this fight. Again, you're writing a fight with a lot of characters and a lot of people in it. Kind of always remember who's in it. I feel like that's a problem with this fight a lot, is it kind of just forgets who's in the fight. Like Mel never shows up, and then she does. The firelights are here, and then they're gone. This cannon shot, just physically didn't really make sense. At the start here, I think I can go like frame by frame. You can kind of see how fast it moves in like one frame. It like teleports, and then it kind of just slowly slides in. And then the mark that it leaves on the ground that this giant like container makes, a little tiny skid mark on the ground. I feel like this is just not really realistic of damage. If you're writing a fight and you don't really know what kind of damage something like this would do, I'd recommend looking at other movies, other visual things of explosives and what kind of damage they deal. Certain shows like Mythbusters, the early Transformers, maybe the later ones, I just think they kind of suck more and more, so it's hard to continue watching them. But like Michael Bay, I think, had a lot of real explosives in a lot of his scenes, so you can see a lot of destruction of concrete and roads and streets. Certainly there's other movies that have a lot of real explosives, but you can just look online, look at that. It might be a surprise, but you don't have to see like real death at all. You can look up even just like demolition or destruction of buildings, which is like safe and usually controlled, and you can see the destruction of concrete and how it would look in real life, and what a giant huge like container would do to concrete if shot at like the speed of a bullet. It wouldn't just slide, but you know, whatever, this thing just kind of bounces off the ground. This, I don't know how she got sucker punched. Again, this is about like a super militaristic, super strong, super smart combat wise. This person's got like god like combat intelligence. For all you new little kids that understand combat intelligence or whatever, she would not get sucker punched, I don't think. If you watch like D&D and stuff like that, this would be something like if someone goes like, I want to punch the big bad while they're trying to talk. At this moment, I feel like it wouldn't just be she just punches her. It would be kind of like a roll of the die or something, if you catch what I'm saying. That Mbessa would have like a pretty good chance of dodging or realizing it and moving out of the way or blocking it. I guess it kind of builds up Caitlyn and the craziness and the coolness of the moment. It's like, oh wow, look, Caitlyn's cool. I think it also would have built stronger that Mbessa is very terrifying if she did block a sucker punch that kind of came out of nowhere. Still, it would have shown Caitlyn was, you know, not messing around and trying to be serious, but it also would have shown that Mbessa is not something to just be messed with, because at this moment she just looks silly getting sucker punched by Caitlyn, this prissy little girl that kind of just screams and gets her face beaten 2 seconds afterward. But whatever. Vi also not really didn't use her shield ever. She didn't really use the super punch ever, which is pretty cool in this moment, but I feel like in this room before, when holding down the door, probably could have done some damage to a lot of people in a line. But and then this was the kind of the worst part of it for me. This is something I was kind of thinking of the whole time that I kind of glazed over before, but this fight here is kind of more of a battle with a win condition. I'd say this is a bit more kind of like D&D terms. I probably can be used for other things too, but I'm thinking more of this in like terms of D&D. Or this fight has a win condition, as opposed to most other fights where just kind of like you beat up the person until you win. This one's win is based off of completing a certain task more than just beating them up. The way they beat Mbessa here is by cutting off her magical arm guard thing. But it takes them so long to figure this out. Put yourself in the character's shoes. Caitlyn, if you were playing like a game, you shoot Mbessa with your magical super gun, and even if this was kind of like described in D&D terms, I feel like it kind of highlights it even more, is heading towards Mbessa, and it suddenly stops in midair. It's glowing blue magical energy suddenly stops and twists and twirls and begins to be absorbed into her green arm bracelet, and then the bullet dissipates. It has no effect. When you can see that, would you figure out then that your bullets aren't working, or would you fire 5 more shots? I feel like you can kind of get the answer there. And then even past that, you're in your fight with your side chick now. Mel throws out magical energy waves. They crackle against the ground, destroying the pavement, and when they meet Mbessa, they're suddenly stopped by an impenetrable force field, and their energy is transformed and changed into green light, and it is absorbed into her green magical arm guard. Would you not figure it out at that point, or would Mel have to shoot another 5 magical blasts, and then you finally realize, okay, maybe if I cut off this arm guard, we can win? It doesn't really make sense. And this whole time I was thinking like it wouldn't take me that long, and I feel like in reality it wouldn't take anyone like 5 sniper bullets and 5 magical blasts to figure out that that arm guard should go. If this was like a video game or something, I think you would figure it out pretty instantly, the first sniper bullet and the first magical blast, that thing needs to go. But that's not how this fight plays out. They kind of just keep hitting her, and then like, oh my gosh, we can't win. Poor Caitlyn gets her entire freaking body destroyed, but they still manage to win at the very end because they finally figure it out. But you know, this is the type of moment in writing where it's like, if your characters are doing this, put yourself in their shoes. You would figure this out beforehand. It was ridiculous. It was a bit ridiculous, but whatever. In total, it was a spectacle, and it was cool to see Caitlyn get beat up. Other than that, you know, the rest of this fight technically is boy savior saving everyone, which is like okay. And I like the Vander fight. This is like the last fight with Vander. I thought that part was really cool. I thought that part was really well done. They used 0 gravity. They finally used like pretty much everything they have in that battle. That was cool. That was all fine. It was just all of this stuff beforehand that felt very messy and kind of like, why is nobody doing anything? Why is this happening? Why is Mbessa suck at the end after all that? Not giving this a grading or anything, because I don't really think there's a point to. It was fine. If you watched the fight, you probably were like, this is cool. I was like, this is fine, you know. I had a bit of problems, but visually, it was a great sight. If you thought about it, you would probably understand that it didn't really make a lot of sense. But, you know, it was fine. In total, the whole show is pretty good. But, you know, this was for people writing a story and kind of just showing you that even though people say this is really good and really great, you can do better, technically. It's not really to slap down on Arcane, but maybe for you, you can understand that and figure out how you can make your fights more realistic. After all that, my concept art here is finished. I hope you enjoyed that. It was part 1 of combat. Yeah, if you liked that, if you have any disagreements, whatever, I guess, talk about them in the comments. Thinking about making this a kind of like a series of just talking about many things, a lot of combats. I don't know why I was saying that. If you have a certain fight you want me to talk about, you know, leave it in the comments. Tell me if you like this kind of video, what I can do to improve it. Obviously, I'm still learning everything all the time, and I'm not good at anything. So yeah, any sort of improvements you think I can do on my end, or any sort of fight you want me to look at, or maybe you just feel like this fight was better than I portrayed it as, leave it in the comments, you know. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.